I'm Kim. Hi. I am a fellow member, trustee of Taff, and for the next couple of weeks we're going to do a few midweek shorts on brush lettering or faux calligraphy. A few people have been asking about how we get our writing onto the rocks, so without further ado, go and grab your coffees. I've got mine here, and I will see you very shortly. Hello again. Hopefully you've gone and grabbed your coffees. You've still got mine. So let's start and explain a bit what I mean by faux calligraphy or brush lettering, as some people call it. I have here my own personal journal. I'm not going to be showing any personal information, but I do this a lot in my own bullet journal that I do. So this was the best thing that I could think of to show you what we mean. And obviously it's on paper, it's not a rock, but we will get there within the next couple of weeks. So what I mean is that fancy dancy slanting italic writing, whereby you have here, let me just bring you in a bit. There you go. So we've got a couple of swoops, it's on a little bit of a slant, and you can see here, this is the forecast in my own personal diary. This is just done with a fatter nib pen, and there's no bold or anything, it's just the handwriting part. However, I will be showing you not only how to do your basic lettering as it's set up here, like I've done here, I will also show you how to make it a bit more italic so that you get something a little bit, sorry, just bring you back out again, just like that. So here you can see you still continue with the italic kind of style with the swoops and the swooshes here and here, but we've made it a bit more italic so that I can colour in here and here, and there you go. So this is what I mean by that style of writing. So what I have here, along with my very nice cup of coffee, is just a piece of card for now, and I'm going to show you on paper exactly how I get to this, just by using the bog standard alphabet so that you can see each and every letter. But what I'm also going to do to start us off is I am going to create some space lines, and for that I'm just going to need my ruler, a trusty little pencil, and that's it for that. Now you don't necessarily have to do this, but I'm going to go right from the basics. These space guidelines will help you be able to space out your writing as and when you're doing it. You may not be able to do this on a rock. It depends on the shape of the rock. If it's quite a flat rock, then it should be okay if you feel more at ease using the space lines. But if you just want to practice before you start on a rock, a piece of paper is the best way to go, just for you to get used to, and have your hand movements get used to how you would do the lettering. So I'm just going to go and do some of those grid lines, and then I'll see you straight back here after that. Okay, so I have done all the space lines, I've hand drawn them on. Now, you don't have to do that. For the purpose of this video, white paper, white lined paper doesn't show up very well, it's quite glary. So because I'm using a plain piece of paper, that's why I've drawn them on today. And you can see I've just done 4 little lines here, either side. But as I said, if you want to use lined paper so you don't have to hand draw these out, that is totally up to you. That's fine, that's a brilliant way of doing it, it saves a lot of time. if you want to buy this type of paper, I mean, it looks a bit like music sheet paper, but they do sell pre-spaced out practicing sheets, or you could just print them off online if you wanted to. I just, for the purpose of the video, wanted to show you what it is that we're going to be working with, just for that extra bit of guide for yourself when you're first starting. So I'm just going to zoom you back out now. Hopefully you can see the little lines that I have created. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to explain as best I can why I've done it and how it's going to help. So I've done it all on the sheet there. And that's just in the preparation for us before we start to do our lettering, okay? Okay, so I'm going to take my trusty little pencil here and I'm going to start explaining to you why we've done the guidelines. Now, I'm hoping you can see here, you've got 1 space, 2 space, 3 spaces. So 1, 2, and 3. And we're going to go right back to when we first learned how to write, and what I call them and what I was taught with the structuring of your letters. Some letters have a tail, some letters have a staff. And what I mean by that is your letters like P, for instance. The actual letter would rest on the middle line, and this is going to be the line where we would write on, but it has a tail that goes down into the 3rd line, or space here. And then some letters, like a D, again, the letter would be on the middle line, the start or construction of the letter would be on the middle line, but they would have a staff that would go up into the 1st line. So if I show you, you would do, your P would start here and go down into that 3rd line, sorry. But the main structure would lie there. And then the same with the D, your main structure would be there, but it has a staff that would go up into the 3rd line. And this will help with the guiding of your letters to know that other letters, such as for instance a B, again has a staff, but the main structure of that letter would be there. The same with a Q. Yep. The same with a Y. The same with a G. The same with an F. And so on and so forth. So you would need these 3 lines to get the structure of your letters so that they would appear even. So the main structure is always going to be on that middle line. So for instance, if we were going to do a letter without any tails or staffs, for instance an A, the full letter would go on that middle line. A C, the full letter would go on that middle line. An E, the full letter would go on that middle line. If we were to look at a H, it would have a staff and it would go up into the 1st line and be there. If we looked at a J, that would have a tail and it would go into the 3rd line. What I'm going to do now is we're going to make a start and we're going to focus on lowercase letters for this week. And in interest of you guys being able to see a bit better, I'm going to just change over to a fine liner pen that I have here in black. I'm hoping it's going to show up a bit better for you. So what I want to start on, as I said previously, is we're going to be doing the whole alphabet. And I'm just going to do the alphabet in my standard, normal, bog standard writing, how I would write out the alphabet, and showing you the trick that is used to just bulk up the letters to make them look as they look. We're going to focus on that middle line, line 2, for some of the letters, and as I said, if a letter's got a tail or a staff, then we'll be going into either the first line for the staffs or the third line for the tails. So the letter A in lowercase, it would just be like that, you know, standard handwriting. The letter B, you would go up into the first line. The letter C would stay on the middle. The letter D up into the first line with the staff. The letter E there. The letter F there. The letter G, and go down into that third one. Letter H. I mean, this will, you'll see as well, keep all your letters like uniform shape and size. Letter I, you go into the first one to do the dot if you want. The letter J, you could use all three. Letter K, depending on how you do it, you could use the staff there, or you could just put it onto the one line. Letter L has a staff. The letter M, the letter N, and the letter O are all on that little line there, the middle line. P goes down into the third because it's got a tail. Q would also go down because it's got a tail. R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. There's various ways you can do your Z's. You could still do it like that, but for the fancier writing, I always go down and create like that 3 shape. There's your alphabet all wrote out in your general bog standard handwriting. It's not a cursive handwriting, it's what I would use to just note take, things like that. To thicken these lines out, how you write your letters, you will notice that you go down with some things and you go back up and back down and around. So the easiest way to get some thickness and some character to some of these letters, for lack of a better word, is that you thicken out every line where your pen would naturally go down with the letter or forming of the letter. So for instance, for the A, I would naturally go down here. So I'm just going to thicken that line and colour it in a bit there. And I also go down here. And for the B, I start at the top and I go down. So I'm going down like this. And I come back up and I start going back down as well here. You see where them arrows are? So I would go to thicken it out. I would follow that line down and then I would come around and thicken that one up there as well. And then when you colour it in, you see how it thickens and thins on wherever you've gone up and down. So C, I start going down over here and coming back up there, thicken that line out. D, I go down on the tail and a little bit on the curve of the D. And I'm going to continue like that all the way along these letters, just thickening out wherever, when I form the letter. So F, I come down here. G, I come down around here, so I'm thickening that out. And I also come down here. Same with the H. Same with the I. And if you see, as soon as my pen starts curving back up, I'm stopping thickening out the line. So I went down on the K here, and I went down on the K here. L, I did the same. M, the N, the O, P, Q, R, the S, T, the U, V, W, the X is just like 2 backwards C's, so that's how I do my X anyway. A Y, and the Z. So for this one it would be in two places, or this one it would be there. So you just go along and colour those in, and you've got like a thicker and thinner effect. So everywhere your pen would go up would be quite a thin line. So you see that that line there is thinner than the downward stroke, the same as the little tail, the R, the S. There are other ways to do your S's when you're being a bit more slanty with your writing too. The U, the V, the W, the X, the Y, and the Z's. They're already done. So you can kind of get the gist of thinner lines going up, thicker lines are where you want to bulk out and bold. So that's your bog standard handwriting, where it would just be letter by letter, which is a nice thing to do. But we want to know how to do the calligraphy kind of style writing, and that's a little bit mixed between like a cursive handwriting, where you want to put, I think on terminology wise, it would be like italic or cursive, as I said. So you would put that slant onto something. So, you know, you would start getting your little tails. So if I start with A, and then it would go like that. Now I can continue on the alphabet where it is all joined up, and you'll start getting your swoops as you would with curved handwriting or cursive handwriting. So I'd stop there, and the tail, there's a staff on the B, so I would just loop around, come down, and then I would go up like that, and then into my C. And I would do the same with the D, you know? And then it would carry on like so, where it is all just the same kind of letters, but they are the same letters, they're just in more of a cursive style. Loads of people, when you're learning to write, will say to you, don't take your pen off the paper. With this type of writing, take your pen off the paper, take your time. You're learning, it might come more easier once you've got a bit more muscle memory in there than what I have, but you will see that I will stop and start as well. I'm by the F now, and you know, there are loads of ways you can do your Fs. You can do them like this, and then I would naturally go into my G, and I take that up, and then I come down, and I would go into my H, and I've taken my pen off the paper. So where that dot is, I would loop, and I would come down, and I would go up and down for the I, and then down for the J, and K, and you will see me taking my pen off the paper to create them loops. You know, I mean, how I like to do my R's with cursive and my S's is a little bit different. So see, with my S, as you would have probably been taught with handwriting, I went up and I come down and I went back up and around. And then my X, and then into my Y, and then down and into my Z. There is a full alphabet in the cursive style, where you are just adding your loops, and you can leave it pretty looking like that on its own. It looks a bit prettier than what just like a normal handwriting will do. Or you can apply the same rule and go back and do the downward filling out. So downward where you would go, but you know, you need to include that on all your loops as well. So I've got them here because obviously you go downward on these loops. What you might notice as well, I've just done a few of them, is for letters like your B's, your I'll do a B for you here, what I do is, if I was doing a standalone bee, I would start somewhere on the top line and I would bring my bee down. And see, and I've made an error. We'll just say this is a big bee. I've gone on to the third line. A little bit out sharp there. So I've made that error and I've gone down into the third line, but we'll just say this is going to be a bigger bee than what these are a second. But when I bring it up, instead of going and retracing along that line and keeping it tight to that staff line here, you notice that I have come out and then bring it back around there, like so. And I've done the same for my H. You know, instead of staying close, so instead of going something like this, you know, it elongates our letter so that it doesn't look like another letter, or that it just gives the shape. It's the same with the M's and the N's. One that I struggled a lot with was the O's. So what I found the best trick was with the O's, I would kind of go like this. It just didn't look right. So if you start, say, a third of the way down that middle line that we have here, let me just move this back into shot view. So if we start in that middle line down here, about a third of the way down, and come up and then elongate it like that. You see? And as I said, you can move on to words from what you're doing here and trying to join them up. And you don't have to do it all in one, like I showed you, you know, up here, or what I've done up here. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you're more comfortable with doing it a bit like this, or even in this style, but not as cursive as this. If we go for the word hope. Okay. And we as in hope, singularly. I'm sorry, I've done that off camera. I will show you again. So if we start with the word hope, and we go. So I wrote the word hope there. You can just start joining your letters up as you go along. That will join with there, and that will join with there. I personally do find it a lot neater and a lot easier. Like I said, you can always take your pen off and go back to it, but if I was to write the word hope, I would do it in one. You see? I've taken my pen off to do it, but it's been all in one instead of going back and joining up. It just gives it a bit more flow. But you can practice, for instance, days of the week. So 2, 3. So for instance, if I'm going to be writing the days of the week, there's Monday. There's to move on to Tuesday. And then Wednesday, but it's spelled Wednesday. Yeah. There you go. And then just move that back in screen, I'm sorry. Thursday would be and Friday. I would probably start Friday down here. And Saturday. And last but not least, we would have Sunday. And there we go. Sorry, it does look a bit blurry at the moment, and I wish that it would focus a tad bit better. If I take you back out a little bit. It doesn't look as good, but the focus is a little bit better. In 2 seconds, let me see if I can get a better frame shot for you. Here we go. There we go. I've brought the camera a little bit closer and hoping that the quality is a bit better for you to see what we've done. So, as I said, you've just got your basic, and then you have your bit more slanted. You can start putting words together. You can practice by doing days of the week even. So I am hoping that for our first lesson, I'm going to try and zoom you in a bit there. Aha, there we have it. Looks a little bit better. So if I move this up here, you can see when you practice the days of the week how they can turn out. And what I'll do is next week, for our midweek short, I will be doing similar for you, but we'll be focusing on capital letters. And again, you will see how these guides can help with positioning your capitals too. Okay? So, I hope that that has been a bit more helpful for you. And I will see you all next week. Any questions or comments, just leave them down below under the video, and I will do my best to get back to each and every one of you. Cheers guys, bye.
The midweek shorts are you-led and released on Wednesdays when content is available. If you've got a question, rock painting related, let us know in the comments below or on any of our social media, and we'll get right on it ASAP. If you'd like to help us out, you can like this video, share it, subscribe, or sponsor us using any of the supporter links in the description below. Until we see you next time, keep on rocking. Ciao for now!